Hey sneaker friends, today's going to be about another new brand. This is a brand that I have never tried before. Today we're going to check out Hoka Oni Oni, and I'm starting with their Clifton 5, and this is the women's version, new out this year. Let's dive into the details. I purchased the Clifton 5 from Hoka's website. It was $130 and I ordered a women's 7.5. Now I do feel like it fits true to size, but a little bit of warning. I thought it initially maybe felt big, but that's because the toe box is really high and the forefoot, but the length is good. And after using the product, I do feel like it does fit true to size. This is a neutral running shoe. If we start with the outsole, you're gonna notice that there's a lot of white on the bottom. Now the green and the pink are rubber lugs, and they have about 2mm web thickness and about 1mm lug thickness. So normally you see the web being really thin and the lugs being quite thick. This is kind of reversed in this situation. The white area, which is now a bit dirty after wearing it, that's actually ground contact foam. So similar to the Epic React has ground contact foam. Now this foam, you can see it's wearing away. I only have about 5 miles on these shoes, but it's not really wearing quite as badly as I would say the React foam. I felt like there's plenty of traction on the bottom. I didn't notice any slipping, but I did not wear these in very wet surface. I did step through some puddles. However, I did not notice any slipping. The hardness of the rubber lugs is about 70 on the Shore A durometer, and then the white area, which is the foam, is about a 40 hardness. As usual, I'm a little concerned that the foam is going to wear a little bit faster than the rubber, but we'll see over time how it does. If we take a look at the midsole, it is foam. You can see where it changes from white to the colored is just a painted rim around the midsole, but this midsole is quite thick. There's not much of an offset in the shoe. They did not say what the offset was, but they said it was a low heel to toe offset. So I'm guessing it's in the like 2, 3, 4 millimeters. A normal offset would be about 10 millimeters. So I'm guessing it's about half that or less, but they definitely didn't say that there was no offset. So there is some bit of offset in this midsole. Now this foam feels softer at the 48 to 50 range, so it's gonna feel firmer than Boost, firmer than React. You know, it's about 10 to 20 points firmer than those with the Shore A durometer, but it feels stable. So I wouldn't say it doesn't feel super overly soft, but it also doesn't feel hard. Now this midsole, you're gonna recognize it because it's the Hoka Oni Oni geometry, and it's intended and designed for a very smooth ride. Now, if you take a look at it, and I can't sit it flat on the table, but you'll notice it's pretty flat in the back and then kind of scoops up in the forefoot. That's to give a really smooth transition, and I do feel like underfoot, it's a very smooth transition. The only thing I noticed about the midsole is the arch area. I have a pretty high arch though, so this may be just particular to me, but it felt like the arch actually is back further and a little bit higher to the point where I feel like it's throwing me to the outside a little bit. If we take a look at their sock liner, you can also notice that it's coming up pretty high and staying up high in this area. Normally this area would come down a little bit, but it's really nicely molded sock liner. Now, I don't think the sock liner alone is making me feel like the arch is high. I just think overall the design of the shoe, there's a lot of material in this arch area, and I'm just feeling that a little bit. The heel counter is internal in the shoe, and I'd say it's a firm heel counter. Nothing too abnormal in that area. For the upper, you have basically an all mesh upper. It's very simple. There's 2 seams in the heel, and otherwise you have a collar lining and a midfoot, forefoot lining, and a tongue. The tongue is not gusseted, but it does have the lace strap. The lace is a flat lace, seems to stay tied okay. The upper is comfortable. I wouldn't say it's overly warm. It fits nice. I think it's totally fine. So like I said before, the sock liner, it is quite molded sock liner. It's a 5mm thickness in the forefoot, and it is an open cell foam, very similar to what you'll see with Nike and Adidas. The hardness of it, because it's 5mm thick, I could measure it with a durometer, and it's about 30. So it's very similar to the midsole. The midsole's 40 to 50. So your initial step in is going to be a little softer and then into the midsole. Now the Strobel, you'll see that it's a piece of foam. It's about 2 millimeters thick and there's lots of holes cut into it. It does seem to be glued down. But overall, it's great that it's actually foam, and it's a soft foam. I couldn't measure the hardness of it because it's just not quite thick enough. You're more feeling the midsole in there. But it is softer than the 30 of the sock liner. Now, when I weighed these shoes, when you look at the toe down view, they are quite wide. They're quite big. They do feel significantly bigger than a lot of other shoes on foot. So I expected them to be quite heavy. The right weighed in at 235 grams. The left weighed in also at 235 grams. No joke. There is no difference between these two shoes. They weigh exactly the same weight. We don't see that very often on here, right? We see usually a 2, 3, 4, maybe even a 5 gram difference between the shoes, but they are identical at 235 grams. Now, that's a total of 470 grams. It's not bad for a running, walking shoe. It's not the lightest shoe you're ever going to see. If lightweight is what you're concerned about, you're probably not going to be in these shoes. Overall, I think the fit is good. The toe box has lots of room. It's not the widest shoe, but it does have a lot of height to it. The upper feels comfortable. I didn't notice any irritation or red spots from it. The underfoot feel, as I mentioned before, it's not super soft. It's not squishy like Boost or React. It's a little bit firmer, but it does feel comfortable and supportive. In terms of durability, I think you're going to have plenty of durability in this shoe. The midsole wearing away is a concern for me, but overall, I know that they've had this design out for quite some time, so they must not be having too bad of wear issues on it. Otherwise, in terms of quality, I did notice that the top edge of the midsole, where it meets the upper, the trim on that is a little bit rough. There's taller in some areas, shorter in some areas, and ideally you want that all cut to be about the exact same height. But you do notice it where they had trouble maybe trimming the midsoles in this model. Otherwise, I don't think there's going to be many quality issues with this shoe at all, and that's more of a cosmetic issue than it is a quality issue. All right, that pretty much covers it for the Clifton 5. Have you guys tried these? If you have not tried these shoes, go to a store, do yourself a favor, try them on and take a few steps in them. It's fascinating if you're interested in shoes to go try on different kinds of shoes. Even if you would never buy them, you might never walk in them, but understanding the experience, that's always educational. All right, I hope you guys have an awesome day. Let me know what you think of these. Talk to you soon. See ya.